What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Dogecoin today. Hit that like button, you guys. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and let's get into it, my friends. Here we are on the 16th of April, sitting at about 15.5 cents. 4 days, 21 hours left in the week. We have pulled back quite a bit since December, since this relative high that we had, all the way up at about 47 cents there. Pulled back quite a bit, back at very ideal areas to buy. Not financial advice, not a financial advisor, but I think, yes, Dogecoin is at ideal areas to buy. It's doing something different than it's done really any other cycle that it's had, and that's the fact that it's not blowing through the roof as soon as it leaves the starting gate, right? Oftentimes, once the cycle starts, it does not stop, man. I mean, maybe you stop a little bit, but you move up at these incredible paces throughout the whole thing. While this is nice for a couple of months, a few months here and there, it's nothing compared to what we've seen before, and I think that you still have these moments ahead of you. These very bullish moments, I think they are ahead of you. You just haven't seen it yet. This is actually very constructive. It's very un-Doge-like to move like this, I will say, at least to the upside. Doge-like to move like this to the downside and be boring, but to the upside, you're just sporadic and erratic and crazy. But I think this is more constructive, and it will allow for potentially higher prices by the end of the cycle than most people might expect, right? We're here at about 15.5 cents. Let's actually talk about that real quick, where I think we're going to go by the end of the cycle, and then we'll talk about the short-term stuff, okay? Let's use a different chart. Let's use this one because, yeah, that one has better, right? High to low here. You went all the way above your 1618 here, right? High to low, relative high to low on the fibs, went just above the 1618 here. From this high to low, you crushed your 1618 this time, didn't you? Crushed it. Went all the way above the 2272. But you did find resistance right at the 1618. So both cycles you went above the 1618 and showed significance at it, right? I would at least say that. Minor significance, cycle high significance, whatever. From a high to low here, that 1618 is all the way up at 394. Now, last cycle you did go to the 2272. I'm not here to tell you that you're going to perform like last cycle. I don't believe you're going above $20 Dogecoin. Not this cycle. In time, yes, I think it will actually. But that would make Dogecoin a multi-trillion-dollar market cap. Yes, I know. But in time, I think it's going to happen. Not this cycle, though. But by the end of this cycle, I am expecting Dogecoin to be worth multiple hundreds of billions of dollars in market cap valuation, which would give it a price of anything from $2.30, $4, maybe even just above $4. After all, every single cycle so far, which has only been 2 bull cycles, right? This is the 3rd bull cycle. We've seen price go above, whether it's just above or dramatically above, the 1618. So what's just above $3.95? About $4, right? So if you're at 15.5 cents now, my expectation for Dogecoin by the end of the cycle, it is the same now as it was back in 2022. My expectation is that we're going to see prices above $4, something on the lines from the current price that is about a 26x, which the average coin, I think, is going to see probably something around like a 26 to a 35x, somewhere in that kind of range. So this is going to perform on average. What's crazy, what's awesome about that is Dogecoin performing on par with the rest of the market. That's a beautiful opportunity when it comes to risk to reward, because there's a lot less risk in Dogecoin. It might be the most risk-averse meme coin that you could invest in. It is the meme coin, the Mac Daddy meme coin, right? I don't think that it's going to go away anytime soon, and I really do think that it has a lot of potential. But oftentimes whenever you invest in the top 10, the top 15, the top 20 coins, you're not getting the most potential that you can out of growth. In fact, you often underperform the markets. But this being in the safer kind of status of crypto, being in the top 20 and the top 10, and then also having a 26x potential from here, that's a rare combination. That's actually a rare combination. Maybe not so rare this cycle. XRP is looking like it wants to do some crazy stuff too. There's some other top 20 coins, top 10 coins that look like they want to do well as well. But still, very nice kind of idea here. Let's get away from the long-term stuff. Let's talk about the short-term stuff. Okay, first, let's look at the monthly RSI. You're at the same area that you were last time whenever you bounced. You moved down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 months in a row. You're maybe not in a row, but 5 months to the downside to find your low. 1, 2, 3, 4. You're on your 5th month now, having your low this month, of course. So same area, same time frame. Might you move up? I think you will. I think your next target on that note will be at new all-time highs. I believe Dogecoin is going to go somewhere between $1.54 and about 80 cents. Is that right? Is 80 cents the right area, high to low? Yeah, 80 cents being right there at the 1272, just above there. So new all-time highs, 80 cents to $1.55 is the expectation. If I really had to lean one way or another, I suppose I'd lean closer to something that is above a dollar. But I don't know if you make it all the way up to $1.85. But I wouldn't put it past you. But something, a larger move than anything you've seen this cycle. It won't be as large as the last cycle. Hell no, no way. But large enough to make Doge stand out and to bring some belief back into it, and probably allow the meme coin markets to grow as well. This might happen in the heart of alt season over the coming months here, but we'll see how it goes. Anyways, that's the expectation, right? Long term, all-time highs we're expecting, or cycle highs by the end of this cycle. $4, just above, just below, whatever, right in that area. Short term, by the end of June, by the end of this next move, which I do think will end sometime at the end of June, we're expecting fresh new highs, 80 cents to $1.55, okay? Over the coming days and the coming weeks, if we're looking at that here, you do have lower lows on the RSI here. Oh, why? Come on now. Lower lows on the RSI there. Higher lows in the price. That is hidden bullish divergence, right? That's actually a really good thing. If we're looking at this from a relative low here to a relative high there, you're finding support in the golden ratio. Also a really good thing. The first time that you find support, you oftentimes do. The second time you go in, you oftentimes break through. But because you did not break through, you found resistance at the 0.5 and you still didn't break through. You closed below the golden ratio only to close above it the next week with a nice fake out wick to the downside. I think that that's it, man. I really do. It's preemptive to say this, a little presumptuous to say this now at this price, but I'm confident enough that is the low. I don't think that you're going to go lower than that. I do believe that your next target area, relatively speaking, on a day-to-day basis, week-to-week basis, maybe by the end of this month of April, would be about 24.2 cents or likely higher than that. When you get above 31 cents, 31 and a half cents, it's time to start considering that new all-time high target area. Yes, I know this is not the all-time high, but I just mean once you get above 31 and a half, 32 cents, once you get above there, you're likely going to take out this high, and that'll propel you on your path to new all-time highs, right? So you're looking good. You're looking really good, all that to say. Daily time frame, also looking good, turning things around, right? You broke out of this multi-month downward sloping consolidation in the RSI. You broke out of your downtrend. You're finding support on the oversold zone where you haven't done that in months. You're doing that now. Let's see if you can get above the 50. Let's see if you can maintain readings above the 40 and start getting above the 50 and then get overbought. You really are turning the tide here. You can see it happening with the price. You've got this nice little cup coming in like this, kind of a rounded bottom in a very short amount of time. It does look like things are rolling over to the upside. I think, let's see here. If it looks like it's rolling over but to the downside, if we invert it, kind of, but not really, not yet. This kind of look, almost always, whenever you start to roll like this, you start to do something like this, it always, like, I say almost always, but basically, like, literally, I don't think I've seen a single instance where you do something like this and you don't drop. However low you drop, right, whatever. But in this case, because I inverted the chart, the drop is actually a pump. So same kind of idea, just to the opposite effect there. And I do think that you're going to be moving up with this. You do have some bullish divergence after all in the daily time frame there. It's already kind of played out. 4 hour indecisive, but that's okay. You don't have to be decisive right now. The shorter term stuff is going to be outweighed by the longer term stuff anyways, from a low to a high. And the longer term stuff is set up to do well, I think. Look at that, bouncing off the 382. This is nice. You actually, not financial advice, not a financial advisor, but here at about 15 and a half cents, I think DogeCoin is at a ripe buying opportunity. I think that if you were to buy here, it's probably the low. If not, you might go a little bit lower, down to 14.8 cents or even 14.4, 14.1. These are areas that you should consider. But being at the 382 right now, bouncing off the oversold zone, I like it. I like it a lot. I think you're going to continue moving higher, and even if you do move lower, it's really not that big of a deal. Let's see. Let's look at the 1 hour time frame. The 1 hour makes me think you want to move lower. So a little bit of confliction in the 1 hour versus the 4 hour, but we'll see who wins. We'll see what comes out there. 15-minute gives me hope that you could move up. Oh, it's hard to say. Yeah. If you move lower, a little bit lower, right? We're talking about just below 15 cents at like 14.8 cents. If not, maybe 14.3 cents, 14 cents itself, but nothing crazy. And then from there, building higher. Yeah, I think the coming weeks, by the end of the month, it's going to be phenomenal. Going into May and June, it's going to be phenomenal, and then let alone the rest of the year. When will Dogecoin top off? When will it find its all-time high this cycle? I don't know as far as when goes, but if I had to guess, sometime in November. Historically speaking, Dogecoin likes to finish its bull cycle a month after Bitcoin does. That didn't happen last cycle. It actually happened a little bit earlier, right? If we're looking at this here, last cycle we topped off in May, but Dogecoin topping off in May if we look at Bitcoin here, BTC USD, don't I have it pulled up? No, I don't. Bitcoin last cycle, its all-time high was here, but its cycle technically ended here, which was April. May, 1 month later, right? I don't think anyone would argue the bull cycle died. It stopped right here. We saw new all-time highs here. That was the all-time high area. That's where the beginning of the bear market was, but that was the beginning of, or that was the end of the bull market. 1 month later, Dogecoin ended its bull market. I'm expecting that Bitcoin tops off in October. Therefore, I would think that Dogecoin tops off in November to end the cycle. But I've given you all the information that I care to give. I don't think I have anything else I'd like to say. So hit that like button, you guys. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this. If anything, this monthly RSI is reminiscent of where it was before when it bounced here. Also, just like this, where it was whenever it bounced here. I've got nothing else for you. Take it easy.